I'm Ashish. I represent an organization called ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability. We are a network of cities, and we are also the implementing agency among a number of other partners of this project called Capacities, which is supported by the SDC, the Swiss Development Cooperation Agency. The Capacities project, full form you can see there, can we go to the next slide please, is mainly talking about strengthening the capacities of Indian cities to identify, plan and implement measures for achieving lower greenhouse gas emissions, a growth path and enhancing resilience to climate change in an integrated manner. So that's what the project aims to do. And this project runs, we are in the middle of implementing the project from 2016 to 2019. Next slide, please. This is the framework that we are following while we are implementing this project. The background is of very strong research and city planning. And then based on this, we are developing sectoral interventions, which include also capacity building in the sectors of, as you can see, buildings, sewerage and solid waste management, water, and transport. And through these interventions, we are looking at carbon reduction, we are looking at short-lived climate pollutants abatement, and climate resilience. What we are implementing in the cities, we are trying to document it and share it with other cities to tell them how this can be taken further. And the interventions at the city level are being focused at through identified projects which are quick wins, which are easily implemented immediate projects, which are bankable projects which would take longer time to get implemented, and based on that, policy recommendations over a longer time for implementation in the cities. So I go over in a quick way to tell you more about what we are doing in these in the project in the cities that we are working with. Next slide, please. This particular project, we are focusing on 4 cities, as you see on the slide: Udaipur, Siliguri, Rajkot, and Coimbatore. Very unique, different cities from each other, scattered around India. You can see the map. And of these 4 cities, 3 are smart cities, whereas Siliguri in West Bengal is not a city identified as smart city. What we are planning to do in the 4 cities as part of this project is to build capacities of city authorities in the cities so as to plan and implement adaptation measures, to implement city-level climate change mitigation measures, implement city-level climate change adaptation measures, and then of course strengthen knowledge. This is something that I talked about earlier as well. The process that we are following is this. I'm sorry that this is a little complicated slide, but we have developed a process called the Climate Resilient Cities methodology, through which we are approaching the cities in documenting what is the current status, analyzing it, and then acting on it through the projects that we develop and implement in the cities, and then push it further for accelerated action in the time to come. And then I quickly tell you in a snapshot what we are doing specifically for the cities. So for example, a city like Coimbatore, through the project we have documented the kind of emissions that are happening at the city level. We are also documenting and understanding then what is it that each individual per capita is contributing to this emission. What are the kind of climate risks that the city faces? And we are understanding the climate risks through various urban systems and their fragility. So we're looking at how is the water network in the city expecting to be getting impacted through climate change in coming time. How is the transport in the city getting impacted in coming time through climate vulnerabilities? And this work we are doing through solid research, which is done based on existing secondary information from Government of India sources, as well as support from partner research agencies such as IIT Madras, and then developing this as a next slide, please. As an action plan for actions to be conducted at the city level. So based on our background research, we are able to then tell the cities what is it that they need to do in the various sectors to address mitigation or climate vulnerability in these cities. We're focusing on the building sector, the industries, solid waste, and you can see, I don't go on to specific projects, but we've identified projects and we've identified for the city's information the kind of impact each intervention or set of interventions would make to the city in coming time. Next slide. Just a list of additional activities. So if I talk about water, say, we talk about reuse of water, we talk about energy efficient pumps, we talk about solar PV systems for pumping, we talk about augmenting local resources and groundwater recharge, we talk about reduction in water that's being wasted. So by acting upon these areas, what are the kind of emissions saved, what are the kind of impacts you can have in the city in coming time. If we go to the next slide. And then, based on this action plan, what we've also done is identified projects that we can work with the cities on for implementation. Some of these are quick wins. These are projects which are ready and can be implemented on immediate basis, such as, say, the installation of ambient air quality monitoring stations in the city. And some of them require more time and readiness at the city level. So we are looking at developing bankable projects which can be then scaled up and implemented by the city in coming time. The decentralized solid waste management system is a mix of that. We do a pilot at a small scale, only focusing on 2 wards, but then we develop a bankable project which gets implemented at the city over longer time for future implementation, and they see the benefits of the pilot implementation, so they are willing to implement it citywide. Next slide. Similarly, for Coimbatore, we've also developed a strategic action plan for wastewater management. We've also developed an assessment of the lakes in the city and how they can be managed better in the city. Also developed a solid waste management strategy for the city in the long term. And then based on this, we are working with various interested partners who might be working with the city on implementing these measures. Some of these measures the cities are also on their own interested in implementing after seeing the pilots in terms of how they're going further. So this is the case of Coimbatore. If we go to the next slide, it's similar for all of the cities. We've done similar analysis at the city level, developed similar plans. Go to the next slide, please. And the next, and the next. And then we have gone ahead and picked up projects which can be implemented or priority projects together with the city teams, which they would want to take up in the long term. So we developed them as bankable projects. And this is the list of the Quickmail projects in the city of Rajkot, where we've installed some ambient air quality monitoring stations. We've looked at area-based groundwater recharge in the city. We've helped install a solar PV system in the water filter plant. And similar, one interesting project is looking at renewable energy for social housing. They have some very interesting social housing projects in Rajkot, and we identified the possibility of looking at renewable energy to support common spaces for lighting and for, say, air circulation that could be powered through renewable energy in the city. Next. But in terms of bankable projects, we've looked at similar projects where we're looking at assessing the potential for augmentation of local water resources. We've looked at developing an integrated solid waste management action plan, and also on transportation, a very interesting project where we're looking at an existing corridor of BRT which exists in the city, but how can we make it more efficient, meaning how can we make more ridership happen in that particular corridor as it gets scaled up as well. Next slide. And similarly then, we've developed actions at Siliguri level. This city, of course, being in West Bengal, political reasons, they do not have the smart city support and funding is an issue, but we've gone ahead and developed quick win projects. Can we go to the next slide? That are being implemented through the support of this project at the city level, and we are also developing bankable projects which we hope see the light of day as the city and the state find these projects to be useful. One interesting project that we have developed in Siliguri is looking at rail connectivity connecting city of Siliguri with surrounding smaller towns a rail network already exists, but it could be made efficient and which would impact the traffic issues in the city in a very big way. Similarly, in Udaipur, we've developed similar analysis, and please go to the next slide, and identified a set of projects that we've implemented. A project to talk about is the e-rickshaw pilot deployment, which we've done in Udaipur. We procured around 18 e-rickshaws of different typologies in the city. The city has above 5,000 polluting auto rickshaws, and they are keen on looking at electric mobility for transforming their IPT fleet. And we thought it would be useful to develop a project which shows them what is it that gets involved in implementing such a transformation for the city. So we've helped the city procure 18 e-rickshaws, and we've run them and documented their performance to develop a long-term action plan, which is the next slide, a bankable project in the city, and is getting finalized. These are activities that we are doing across the cities as part of the project. How we are doing this is very interesting because we are working with a team of Swiss partners, Indian experts, and then also working with other research agencies which are providing complementary technical and policy studies for the cities, working with the Center for Policy Research, working with IIHS, and agencies such as this. And how we're doing this in terms of spreading it across is through city-level dialogues, through national-level dialogues, and also having technical study tours as part of the project. There are also some good practice documentation activities that will be happening as part of the project. This is the list of partner agencies, a whole lot of agencies involved in the implementation of the project. I represent the logo in the middle, that's ICLEI South Asia. But of course, we have a whole lot of partners, including, of course, ETH Zurich